And a massive security operation is underway this morning in and around New York City. Tens of thousands of police and other officials are working to protect Super Bowl 48. The Department of Homeland Security is declaring Sunday's game in New Jersey a Level 1 national security event. More than 1 million people are expected to take part in Super Bowl-related activities.
On Sunday, 4,000 security officers will be at MetLife Stadium. Military fighter jets are ready to respond to any attack. Helicopters will patrol the sky above the city, and an extra 200 surveillance cameras are watching Times Square, where there are plenty of Super Bowl events. Our former senior correspondent, John Miller, is at the center of this security operation. He is now the NYPD's Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back.
All right, so let's talk about your new job. What possible threats do we know about? Can you give us some insight on that? And what concerns you and the NYPD the most?
Well, first on the threats. Right now, and we scan this traffic literally minute to minute, there is no known credible threat that we have that is directed against the game. Now, that said, in the normal course of business, we have a threat stream. That's threats that come in by mail, anonymous calls, the same thing you get every day, but some of it will mention the game or the venue. So, you run all these down. We have a team of people that's been beefed up for this that works through that. The FBI has a threat squad that's made up of agents and detectives that works with us on that. So that's a normal cadence. Then you have the lead stream. These aren't threats. These are things you pick up through other investigations, and you run those out too. And a few times a day we go over where are we on the threats, where are we on the leads, what do we have left to do if we run everything out. And so far, at the end of the day, I haven't had anything that's keeping me up at night. Now, the answer to your question, what worries you is, you always are worried about what is the thing that is not in the threat pile or in the lead stream. And if you look at the Boston Marathon bombing model, where you have two people who aren't communicating with Al-Qaeda, who aren't part of a large group, they're just talking to each other, that's the kind of thing that you say, how are we going to catch that? And we have a whole set of systems for that, too.
The head of the New Jersey State Police said he's worried about mass transit. Why?
I think he's worried about mass transit because of the historical draw of terrorists to two things. One, aircraft, but there's an entire program built around aircraft interdiction for this. But two, mass transit, which is going to be the major thing that's bringing people to this game is going to be buses and trains. So that's a normal focus, but there's a lot of protection there.
I assume you're doing a lot of things in terms of the kind of getting ready for if some eventuality happened, like somebody trying to fly a plane into the stadium, that kind of thing.
Charlie, the other day while you were sleeping, we actually never know when Charlie's sleeping, but at 4:30 in the morning to be precise, if you had been up, you would have seen a couple of military jets, F-15s, streaking across the skies of New York City chasing a plane. They actually drill this when everybody's asleep, so nobody sees anything that would alarm them in broad daylight. But the night before last, they had the big chase. They've drilled it before. If an aircraft violated the no-fly zone around the stadium, how would they interdict it and so on? It's built into the plan, and as we saw it when we were all together last year in New Orleans, they used it there too.
Right. Well, we miss you.
Well, I miss you guys too, but I still get to see you every day.
Well, we're glad you still watch the show.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, John.
Super Bowl weekend is finally here.
We have team coverage this morning. CBS 2's Weijia Jiang is at the Super Bowl Boulevard Fan Fest along Broadway. Let's begin. Oh, she's got lots of folks with her too. Catherine Brown, though, starting it out at MetLife Stadium. Hey, Catherine.
Hi, good morning, guys. Yeah, there's been a tremendous buildup over the past few months, even years, but now here we are right at the beginning of one of the biggest weekends for this area, and there is so much that you need to know. Whether you're headed to the game or whether you just live in this area, there are a lot of security changes and changes to traffic and mass transit that you need to know about.
It's comforting to know they're there.
Locals are welcoming an onslaught of security this Super Bowl weekend. The high-profile event is known as a Level 1 target. 500 Homeland Security agents, the FBI, the Coast Guard, NYPD, New Jersey State Police, and local officers are already in place.
Oh, it doesn't freak me out at all. No, I'd rather see it. Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, stand by.
In the air, Black Hawk helicopters are armed and ready to intercept air traffic that ventures into the no-fly zone.
Most of the cases of people breaching the zone, obviously in the past, have been mistake.
80,000 Super Bowl tickets were sold, but just 12,000 parking passes were issued, and taxis aren't allowed near the stadium, so most fans will be coming to the game via mass transit. A special Super Bowl shuttle will run between Secaucus Junction and MetLife Stadium beginning Sunday afternoon. Even before boarding, fans have to go through security, show their game ticket, and adhere to the NFL's clear bag only policy. Highways surrounding the stadium will be open through game day. New York and New Jersey State Police say they'll be setting up extra DWI checkpoints between today and Monday. They'll also be on the lookout for drivers who violate the ban on texting while driving. Well, if you're planning to use the subway to get around this weekend, you should know that regularly scheduled track maintenance and construction projects are still ongoing. So you want to check that schedule. There may be some changes to your regular route. For now, we're live at MetLife Stadium. I'm Catherine Brown, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Catherine, thanks.
Of course, it's at a fever pitch ahead of the big game on Sunday, but behind the scenes, a full-scale security operation that's all in motion right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Here to talk about what's being done to keep both players and fans and the rest of the community safe and secure is security and safety expert Sal Lafreri. See how I did that, Sal?
You did that good.
Just went right through it.
You've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
You're getting better.
So what are the things? You know, and again, don't spill the beans if you don't want to spill the beans. Because I like the fact that I don't know some of these things. But what are the things you can tell us are being done behind the scenes to keep the game safe?
Well, I think one of the things that people realize is that, you know, it's not security just on that day. You start working on the command centers and you start putting your intelligence operation and figuring out what your risks are, who are the people that you want to keep an eye on, who are the ones that are going to, you know, potentially do harm. And that takes just months ahead of time, and that's one of the things that you really don't get to see. And then on game day, of course, there are a number of things behind the scenes that go on.
A lot of undercovers, I'm sure, roaming around, bomb-sniffing dogs.
Well, those are the things that we're all familiar with, where you see it, you know, you see the cop with the bomb-sniffing dog, and you see the extra guards on the posts. But you know, there are things that we're concerned about. You know, one of the things is, you know, dirty bombs, right? So it's, you know, what happens if a device goes off? How do you react and respond to it? So the Department of Energy has been doing some studies and getting baseline readings of how much radiation's in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of preparation for that. You're monitoring atmospheric conditions in the event of a chemical attack. So there are a lot of things like that that would go into play. Plus different technologies that come in. You know, you're looking at video technologies that have increased over the years, and even explosive detection capability.
Wow. We've been talking about obvious traffic management around the game, in and out of the city. But what's it mean for the rest of the residents close to or in the area that aren't going to the game? What do all these security measures mean, and how will they impact us?
Well, during the course of the game, obviously, you have the crush of people, but this is the first Super Bowl where they're really pushing hard for people to use public transit or mass transit. So there's a game plan as to how they're going to get all of the buses and the trains in, and that also, you know, for in our world, that also creates an additional risk. It's something that it's another potential point of an attack, and you have to look at that. And they've been spending a tremendous amount of time trying to figure out how to secure the train, the rail system, how to ensure that they can get the buses in, and more importantly, if something happens, how do you get 80,000 people out of the neighborhood quickly?
All right, now also in the city, keep seeing Weijia Jiang's over at the Super Bowl Boulevard in the city. That's Times Square. That's big. And she's out there. Thousands of people are coming now. How does that work with security there?
It's I said this last week, it's the equivalent of doing New Year's Eve every day for a week.
Man.
It's that type of a setup where you're looking from 34th Street to 47th Street, 500,000 people coming in from noon to 10 o'clock at night. And you don't have you know, it's a little bit tougher than even New Year's Eve because you don't get the same capability that we do on New Year's Eve. You know, on New Year's you get to set up the pens, you get checkpoints to a setup. This is something is just wide open. But fortunately, the police department has enough resources in New York City to be able to throw at it, and you know, we think we can get this. We can get through the week.
I don't want to throw you a curveball here, because that's baseball and we're talking football. What about the weather? How has the warmer weather, the anticipated warmer weather, changed the security kind of protocol? Because I was thinking if it was really cold, everybody'd be layered up. One of these ne'er-do-wells could hide something easier when people won't be layered up. Does that help?
Well, you know, anytime you got somebody bundling themselves up for the cold weather, get a couple extra layers, yeah, it's potential to hide something, but In reality, I mean, when you're looking at about 40 degrees, it's not much of a difference.
Right.
You still got overcoats.
Still gonna have coats and stuff.
They're still going to have overcoats. The other part of it, though, would be with the warmer temperatures, you get more people coming out. So again, the potential for your issues that you have to contend with, the crowd control issues, how to go up.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just how easy is it to hide a bomb on you, but it's all of the peripheral factors that get associated with that.
All right. Well, New York also, you mentioned obviously Times Square. We're used to big security events like this. Also when the president comes to town. But how is security really for the Super Bowl different than any of these events?
For the Super Bowl, it's actually been declared, and this is wherever it happens in the country, it's been declared a national security event. So it's handled by the lead agency is the U.S. Secret Service, and all of the federal resources come to bear. So this isn't just a state and local event. This is really a national event. And that's great because then you get the capability of all of the resources from the U.S. government. So you get the air support, you get the support on the water, you get technology that may not necessarily be available at a local level, can now be brought in by the feds. So it's clearly something that's taken a step up because it's not only just a national event, but a global event.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate that I have to ask you this question, but
But he's going to.
But, well, I think it's important.
Yes.
You know, we hear if you see something, say something. Two parts of that. Who do I say something to? And give everybody a refresher course on what information needs to be conveyed if I see something, as far as where it is, what do I see, and the time.
Well, with respect to if you see something, what do you say? I always equate it to when you have children. When you look at the child and you know something's not right, you know they're up to no good.
Yeah.
It's that if you get that feeling that something's just not right, say it. That you have to say it. You have to get away from the fact of feeling like, I'm playing, Chicken Little and I'm saying the sky is falling. If you think something's going on, say it. Who do you say it to? The simplest, pick up a phone and call 911,
okay.
Let them know. But in New Jersey, like New Jersey Transit has a texting operation now where you can type the TPD or something along them lines, where you could actually text those messages to the police. So depending on where you are, but the simple and easy part of that is pick up a phone, call 911. The departments want to hear the information because that may be a critical element of something that you may have seen that they're looking for that can maybe connect a couple of dots and help save some lives.
Sal, as always, appreciate your insight. You going to the game?
Hell no.
Yes,
We're watching it from the couch.
Thank you.